join your community in this interfaith event. Thank you, sisters and brothers of our Christian faith communities, for being here today in solidarity with our Muslim brothers and sisters. Thank you, Dr. Bokhari and Mrs. Bokhari, our dear friends, for your part in bringing us together today, and believe me, they were instrumental in all of this. I am humbled to stand before you and pray that my words will honor each of you who have done so much to further peace and justice in our world. I also want to take a moment to remember two people who could not be with us today. They were both very much a part of the interfaith work done in the Kankakee community. First, I want to remember Marilyn O'Flaherty, who died recently. Marilyn was also a founding member of the Tent of Abraham, and Marilyn helped plan and host 2 festivals of faith hosted at her church, Wesley United Methodist. She signed the journal ad, which you will hear a little bit more about, this past December, and she was excited about the prospects for the future of interfaith work in the Kankakee area. I give thanks for her witness. May she rest in peace. And then another, Charlene Dibadak, who with the Bokharis helped to get the Kankakee area interfaith group together in 2007. Char was instrumental in leading our group to host 4 interfaith events, one at a synagogue, one at a Catholic parish, and one at Provena St. Mary's, now Presence St. Mary's in their conference room, and then one also at St. John. Char was also the one who made sure that Dr. and Mrs. Bokhari saw the ad, since they were away on December 12th. Char sends her greetings and love and wishes her health would have allowed her to be here today. We are here because of a small gesture of kindness that in the grand scheme of things hasn't changed much in our world. We are here because a small group of individuals decided they needed to do something to stand against the hateful rhetoric being spewed by powerful voices in our nation. We are here because an ad in a small town newspaper, an ad that wasn't even a blip on the radar screen of those same powerful and public voices, but simply offered our witness for peace and solidarity. The attacks in Paris and the words uttered by some unnamed presidential candidates in response to those attacks had fueled fear and mistrust. It was frightening. It was repulsive. That's why I reached out at our December Clergy Alliance meeting to ask my colleagues to join me in doing something. We agreed we did not want to give any publicity to the loudest of the voices, but we wanted to do something. We were midway through the season of Advent in the Christian year, a season that is filled with images of peace on earth. With the help of the Daily Journal staff and our faith communities and my colleagues, those especially who are gathered here today, we pulled together a full-page ad. It was signed by over 100 people, many of whom are here today and whose signatures bear witness. It began with a statement and the signatures of those folks we could get a hold of, all collected in about 36 hours so that we could go to press. The heading said, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." And under that, this statement, "We, the undersigned, pledge ourselves to stand in solidarity with people of all faiths. We pledge to work for peace. We pledge to speak against hate. In this season of peace and joy, we consider it our joy to live in a diverse community where all are valued." Now, there isn't anything profound in that statement, There isn't anything that hasn't been said before. It is a statement that resonates with the best tenets of humanity, both religious and non-religious, faith-based and humanist. The statement says more than we want peace. It says we will work for peace. In the months since December, the world hasn't shifted much toward this peace. Brussels, streams of refugees fleeing terror and war. ISIS, Boko Haram, gun violence, and isolated attacks still fill the news reports around our world. The political landscape hasn't become any more compassionate either. And the loudest of those voices continues to use fear of the other to keep us off balance. Yet in the midst of all this, there are beautiful moments like today, where our hope is renewed as we build relationships instead of walls. Let there be peace on earth. How many times have I prayed, God, let there be peace on earth? But it's the next part that should be my prayer. And let it begin with me. Let it begin with me. Too often I give in and think my paltry efforts won't make much of a difference. Sometimes I give in and say I can't control any of this. I've learned the life lessons that tell me there is very little that I control. I actually thought I had some control as pastor of my congregation. Sometimes the congregation still allows me to believe I do. Even with that knowledge, the one thing that is still within my control is what I do, the words I speak, the choices I make, the way I react. From our Christian faith, when we look to Jesus, we learn that loving God requires our whole self, our heart, our soul, our mind. And that second to loving God is loving our neighbor as ourselves. Jesus said, on these two things hangs the whole of our faith. It is through loving God that we are able then to love each other. Our human condition makes this kind of love a challenge. I think I'm pretty lovable, but there are times that I know I drive some of you almost crazy. The thing is, Jesus took the whole of his understanding of God and brought it down to this simple equation. Love God and love one another. And no matter if we are now divided into many faiths, we have this one common thread, love. Let there be love on earth, and let it begin with me. Throughout history, there are stories after stories of people who believed that what they did as one person made a difference. People who carried no more power than any one of us in this room today stood on the side of love and believed that what they did each day mattered. One, and then another, and then another, and another. Let it begin with me. Beginning with me is not without challenge. I am influenced by the family and community cultures in which I was raised. I am influenced by the history and changing attitudes of this country where I was nurtured. But I am also touched by the friendship compassion, and kindness of people with whom I share this life and who have become part of my education as a citizen of the world. Their stories have combated the ingrained prejudices of my 62 years of living. Those prejudices are the obstacles that I must work on every single day, if it is indeed to begin with me. I know that even on my best days, I am constrained by years of Christian privilege, white privilege, and economic privilege. I know even on my best days, my first thoughts are not always without prejudice. I know even on my best days, I might let an offhand comment go because I don't want to hurt the feelings of the person I'm with. I know even on my best days, I have to stop myself from stereotypical thoughts about neighborhoods that are safe, someone being identified by the color of their skin or the clothing they wear. I know, even on my best days, the entrenched messages from my teenage years of being taught that Christianity is the only truth are still messages I have to counter with the truth I now know, that God's love is for all, not just for some. The tent of Abraham was open in all four directions of the world, so that travelers who thirsted for water or hungered for food might be welcomed instantly and warmly, no matter what direction from which they came. What a symbol for us today, the open tent of welcome for all faith traditions, and even those communities that are not based on a faith tradition or a religion. A place for all who thirst and hunger for peace. There is no them. There is only us, celebrating our common humanity. May we continue to stand in solidarity, speak against hate, and work for peace. And may it begin with me. Peace be with you and upon you.
Love.